Okay, so I've never played Panzer Dragoon Saga before. It turns out this game is really hard to get your hands on because it's a Saturn game. It's also very hard to emulate because Saturn emulation is super janky. As you can see during FMVs, there's going to be this like flashing black line effect that I haven't been able to disable. When I did some testing before stream, I was able to get the actual main game to work without any graphical glitches, but I think we're going to have to deal with that during FMVs and cutscenes. Apologies in advance. This game might crash or have other game-breaking bugs. I was barely able to get it to work when I started testing it this morning, so I'll let you know as we progress if we gotta bail out. Now, my understanding is that the Panzer Dragoon Saga is like it's like a rail shooter where you're flying on a dragon and shooting stuff, and that this is like a traditional JRPG that's in that setting, basically. Also, this is the emulator SSF, it's Japanese. The emulator crashes if your controller disconnects, so I'm going to be playing this with the mouse and keyboard. Hopefully everything goes okay with that. Main thing you know about this game is it's really expensive, yeah. I might try to do more research. I did a bit of Googling saying, black lines in FMV cutscenes in Panzer Dragoon Saga, but I haven't seen anybody report a setting solution for it. If anyone else wants to Google more, maybe find an answer, I can try to fix it on stream. Fortunately, it only affects FMVs. Yeah, right. Hey, Skyhorus. The game itself seems to run fine. It's just the FMVs that have this like flashing scanline effect. This will actually be the second Sega Saturn game we played on stream after Albert Odyssey. So 2 JRPGs. I can't really think of too many traditional RPGs that were for Sega systems. A lot of them were action RPGs. New game. Graphics were super good. Like, this is 1998, so this game is about the same time as The Longest Journey, and I think it has fully 3D environments. Pretty sure it's not pre-rendered backgrounds. The Phantasy Star was in the Genesis, wasn't it?
Guido, Edge.
I think that it has Japanese voice acting. At least I think it's Japanese, unless if it's like a custom language, that could be possible too.
Meliust prelidis expedul.
Tunes cognitum lua. Quidu nosta defensio.
D.
Possetu cognitum.
Za envetus. En Iowa and Purgus.
Pretty early game with voice acting too.
Devonumest lutema.
S. De Peltoner Impenia.
Some sort of hybrid language, kind of like the language in
Noster Defensio.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Exceller Impelnia. Te omnio aude gescalde.
It doesn't sound like straight Japanese.
Peril! Turcus Mesentes!
Hostis?
A beast? From the ancient age? Thousands of years have passed since the fall of the utopian civilization. You know, this sounds like just Japanese, but the rest of the voice acting sounds different. Yeah.
人類の生存を脅かす多数の巨大生物を撃退し、再び我らの時代が来たと人々を歓喜させた。しかし、力は欲望を生み、欲望は戦乱を生む。帝国と同じく9世紀の力を手に入れた周辺国家との戦争は深刻化の一途をたどった。
Dutch,
自らの
Japanese,
優勢を
Creole.
保つため帝国は9世紀の遺跡の発掘を強引に進める一方で帝都に大規模
I'm
な
trying to
研
think of
究機関
what
を設
games
け
were released in the
わずか
West
ずつで
that
はあ
had
るが
Japanese or
古の時代
non-English
の
voice
謎に
acting, but
迫ろう
English
としてい
subtitles.
た
I feel like that almost never even happens today, let alone in 1998. Yeah, so now this is the hybrid language again. It sounds like the characters speak in that. Panzer Orta, was that for 360 or for the original Xbox?
コースでテーマレベルプロセッ
I've heard that game is pretty great.
Nunikats, Muheoles Magwell Matthew, Yaxil.
ガダアウェイエナメトスで言えなデレカカーツフェニアデニクニパスアクションベロクス
Orto's original Xbox. That would make sense. Panzer. Tank Dragon Saga? Setting seems pretty dark. Dark, scary, bloody anime style. Get out of here, Edge. I'm really impressed at how good this game looks, right? This was Sega's biggest failing, is that they were always like 2 years ahead of everybody else. The people weren't ready for it yet. They did online first with the Dreamcast. Shenmue was in development for Saturn. It's a lady from the box art. Oh, that's creepy. It's a wall lady. That's super creepy. Sorry, I'm distracted by a sexy wall lady. It's like frozen in carbon or something. It's got like an RPG and a rifle, so it's kind of a modern setting. FF7 level modern fantasy sci-fi. Good job, Edge. Tech is as much about timing as competitively, yeah. They were often a little bit too aggressive, too, with their ideas, Sega. Like, rather than take the time to get it right. I think FF6 is more like Victorian, medieval. Fusion. Industrial Revolution. No, it's FMV only, I can't fix it. If someone wants to try to beat me to Googling it, it happens in all of the cutscenes, and I wasn't able to find anybody that reported a setting to solve it. Emulator I'm using is SSF. creepy wall lady. And he fell in the ravine and died. Hey, it's Immortan Joe.
Prosit placeba imperi. Transia postars.
It's a good opening. I'm actually super intrigued what's going on in this game with the cool wall lady. Very creepy image. Meanwhile, Dutch-Japanese grill would be cool because they have similarities. People were talking about a HD remaster for a while. Shoot, I guess that pauses the emulation. I'll try to play around with settings, so I won't mess with that. Yeah. Apparently you can play the game in its entirely with SSF, but it seems like you just have to deal with this flashing black problem on FMVs. They lost the source code, and it's a bummer. They kind of blend into the blinds here, the black flashing lines.
Pialitus e crimen, nole motarsem impenia. Des Diolangius impenia banas, dicia Dev ergaterium. Impenia ridru winter, teliu diu atrefta.
One second. I may have found a solution. VDP2 draw thread. Nope, that didn't fix it. Let's say if I just fixed it, I was going to restart. Maybe made it less severe though. Leveling the capital not affect the Emperor, right? Sorry, I'm going to try one more thing. That seems to be related though, because when I turn the other one on, it looks like it makes it worse. Hold on. Timing. Okay, let's see if we can do this here. Name Edge. Hey Serp, how's it going? It is my real name. Oh. Interesting. I wonder if they're doing like an Earthbound thing where they want to have me enter a name that's different from the character. Clever. It is my real name. Hey, I fell down that big chasm and didn't die. That's awesome. Yeah, I've heard people talk about, like, they almost lost all of Toy Story, but somebody happened to have copied it and brought it home with them, is that right? Come to, kid, you'll be fine. Where's the buttons? What is going on in here?
生きてる。助かったのか。早く上に戻らないと。隊
Hayaku.
長たちが。
Few Japanese words I know. Hey, look at that. And now the black lines are gone because we're actually in gameplay. So let me figure out the buttons here. And I have to use it with a keyboard rather than a controller, because if my controller disconnects, the game crashes. I think there's a little bit of the black line flickering, but it's a lot less bad during gameplay. I can hold B to run. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I have to target stuff? Okay, shell plate. Right on. Handgun. Can I equip that? Ancient gun with a dragon design and an elevator key. Items. List of items. Shell plate. Armor for military weaponry. Soldier guide. The uncivilized people of the frontier fear the ancient machines and subject them to their idiotic beliefs. Our duty is to locate the buried finds and return them to the rightful heirs. Highness. Yeah, it doesn't seem like too bad. Use the power of the ancient ones to cleanse the world of the monsters and return humans to their former glory. Expanding the empire, including securing as many ruins and machines as possible, will achieve this goal. If anyone stands in your way, eliminate them. They resist out of ignorance. The Empire has a duty to protect them. We fight not to invade, but to teach the truth. Interesting. Oh wow. How to handle ancient weapons. Battle against the monsters. How to deal with seekers. It's a lot of lore. I guess that's actually not too bad. Okay, let's do all of them then. How to handle ancient weapons. The Academy research is being done day and night to unlock the mysteries of the ancients. It will not be long before the Empire can produce engines and other devices in our horn. Okay, so it's another setting where the ancient societies were highly technologically advanced. I tend to associate that with Japanese RPGs. I haven't seen too many Western stories that depend on that. It's a cool concept. That's why I ripped it off for my D&D setting. The uncivilized people of the frontier cannot harm our forces. The real threat is the enemy that wields the power of the ancient ones. The monsters, they're extremely dangerous. Monsters are unintelligent. The Academy is very close to understanding their instincts. Our weapons, formations, and tactics are based upon this research. You're expected to give total obedience to your superiors and perform all your duties. Your devotion to the Empire will allow you to defeat any enemy. They will tremble before you. Among the tribes in the frontier, there exists a clan whose sole purpose is to steal relics from the ruins, stealing from your emperor. These seekers are a blight on the Empire, and they must be killed on sight. Seekers are poorly organized and are equipped only with hunter's weapons, so they pose little military threat. In many cases, they carry ancient relics. It's advised to avoid the use of heavy weaponry. Main goal is to acquire the power of the ultimate weapon of the ancients, the towers. Imperial legends state that each tower contains enough destructive force to destroy the entire world. Okay. So nukes, basically. A Japanese game that uses a stand-in for nukes. Capture a dragon. In the frontier, the dragons are worshipped as messengers of the gods, but that is groundless superstition. The dragons are, in fact, nothing more than monsters with an arsenal of destructive powers. Don't underestimate them. The dragons may appear... Did it say... Okay. Dragons may appear simply as powerful monsters. It's thought they are somehow related to the towers. To solve the mystery surrounding the towers, you must capture a dragon at all costs. Okay. Upgrade the handgun. Key to unlock the elevator. Currency used by the Empire. Period. Berserk list. Map. Yeah, this game is really impressive looking for 1998. Like even the 3D, it's like looks much better than PS1 games, right? gonna have to get used to the interact system. It's very interesting. Wonder if that maps to a different control system later. Ride the elevator. It's the most Japanese sounding surprise noise I've ever heard somebody make. Yeah, there was no music when I first landed. What's that thing? Get an edge. More of those monsters from earlier picks. He was having a lot of trouble fighting just one of them. Cool. You're screwed, buddy. Can you take the elevator back downstairs? Sounds like he said, oh shit. So maybe it is part Japanese, part another language. Oh, find another setting I can try. Hold on, see if I can turn it on. Check cycle pattern. Where is it? Trying to make the flickering go away. I did a bunch of testing this morning and couldn't find anyone that had the problem, but... Does that do it? Oh, enable. So it being enabled might actually make it worse. Wow. Okay, yeah, so there's something already fixing the problem. Oh well. Black flickering as best as we're gonna get. I guess if you're watching on YouTube in the future and you already haven't given up because of the flickering, you can always cut ahead when you see gameplay with FMVs. It's a Dragoon! Panzer Dragoon dragons have a very specific... Do they all have that like helmet on their face? How long they're holding the shot on the kid's face there. He's so excited about that Dragoon. This game has 4 discs, and I was trying to imagine how can a 15-hour game have 4 discs, and I think it's the volume of FMVs and like recorded audio, because Sega Saturn games were like music CDs, weren't they? Or it was very similar technology to a music CD. Thanks, Dragoon, buddy. How to tame your dragon abridged. Step 1, find a tame dragon. done. Got it. Despite the flickering looks of the graphics in this game, even outside of the FMVs, are incredibly impressive for 1988. Realize this game came out a year after Final Fantasy VII, and like the same year as Final Fantasy VIII, which reflects the capabilities of the Saturn. Step 2. Where's step 2? Hey, no more flickering because we're in gameplay. This dragon was some mild skybox flickering. Cool. Does it use the same weird targeting system? It does. Stellarium. Feels pretty good to control, actually. It's very tight. Element used as a source of energy. Oh, I wonder if the skybox uses the same technology as the FMVs. That's wild. It's the Mode 7 type thing. It's like a weird cursor. Huh. Now, there were already other Panzer Dragoon games before this one, right? Attack the bird. This is the first one to be just a traditional RPG, though. I've always heard the other ones described as like a rail shooter. Panzer Dragoon 2. Ancient currency. No monetary value can be exchanged for money. Okay. No monetary value, but has monetary value. I think I know what they mean. Can't be used as a de facto currency, but can be bartered for. Music is pretty sweet so far, too. They're in a period of turning their arcade games into RPGs. I'd love to see more approaches to that. You're saying with, wouldn't it be great if Nintendo made a Mario RPG type game, but with all of their properties? That'd be rad. How do I... Oh, that's interesting. It chooses target to enter. I need to figure out how I change my Z-axis position. Is it pitch, yaw, and roll? I don't remember which one is which. Roll is probably left and right. Pitch is probably up and down. There's my dragon. Looks like he's waiting for me. Alright. Already calling him your dragon. There's that dragon. Presumptuous kid, man. One second. Yep. Nani? It's a dead body. Oh, that is Japanese. Alright, so it's definitely a mix of some Japanese. Heard Hayaku and Taicho.
奴らは谷に沿って北へ向かってる。あの男、クレイメンたちを追え、本物の帝国軍が来る前に。クレイメン？誰なんです、そいつは。それに、なんで追わなきゃならないんです。帝国の特務部隊、黒い艦隊を率いる男の話を聞いたことがある。おそらくは奴が。ここを見れば帝国は俺たちを疑う。あの発掘物を奪回する以外、お前の生き延びる方法はない。胸のポケット。
Pocket. Is the Japanese word for pocket actually pocket? They sometimes do that.
隊長、これは。
He's already dead, dude.
隊長。隊長。くそ。クレイメンめ。
Game's pretty dark. Guess I consider 1998. It was a pretty big deal because I guess you had both Sony and Sega were starting to break out from kind of the era of censorship. Although I guess Sega was already doing that with the Genesis, right? Like you could play the original Mortal Kombat. How about the battle system? During battle, your attacks are dependent on this gauge. This gauge charges on its own. You can charge up to 3 gauges at one time. Anytime more than 1 gauge is charged, you can open the battle menu. Okay, so it's kind of like ATB. Certain actions require more than 1 gauge to be charged. That's cute. Dragon's normal attack requires only 1 gauge to fire. Screen's cutting off some of the bottom text. Oh, thanks to the effects. Didn't realize that was happening. Let's see if I can just. I think it's because the game, the aspect ratio changes, but I might be able to fix it. Fire laser. Attack with homing laser. Okay, so it's traditional turn-based. It doesn't actually make me. The gun, Edge's normal attack, also requires only 1 gauge to fire. Best used in individual enemies. Fire gun. That's cool. Using an item requires a full gauge. To use an item, open the battle menu, select items, use the D-pad to highlight the item, press C. Cool. I like the concept of this battle system. Berserk techniques, the dragon special attacks varies according to type of 1 to 3 gauges. Holy sphere. Cool. I honestly wasn't expecting most of the combat to be on dragon back. That's pretty cool too. Action may be taken any time as long as the required gauges are charged. That's a really neat combat mechanic. I like it. Combat feedback's pretty cool too. Unused portions of the gauge are not lost. Oh. That's cute. So you can do attack, attack, attack if you have 3 bars full. There's some neat design space around that. Enemy attack. Although not displayed, enemies have gauges as well. Each enemy's gauge is charged at a different speed. Spinal arrows. Combat's really smooth in this game too. Like that just happens really quickly and then it gets right back to you being in control. I like that a lot. I feel like a lot of JRPGs stick around forever with combat actions. Most enemies' actions differ depending on where your dragon is located when the enemy attacks. Battle radar shows where your dragon is located in relation to the enemy. Enemies will always appear in the center. Colors on the battle radar indicate the danger level of your enemy's attack. Your dragon remains in an uncolored area. The enemies will only use weak attacks. To evade danger, your dragon can move to the front, back, left, or right of the enemy. This is called positioning. It can be done by moving left or right in 93 turns. Oh, that's cool. Otherwise I was able to move it all the time. Positioning does not drain the gauge, so you may move at any time, but no charging occurs while positioning. That's cute. Green area means the enemy can't attack in that direction, therefore this area is a temporary safe zone. Move to its front. I see. I am the golden icon on the radar, that makes more sense. How you doing, people? The red area means the enemy will deliver heavy damage if it attacks. Ooh. Avoid the red area and stay in the green area, victory will be yours. Keep in mind that while positioning, the gauge will not increase. The more time you spend moving around, the worse your ranking will be. That's a really cute mechanic, I like that. I like how smooth the battle is, I was not expecting that. Cool. You enjoy it so far? I love Darkest Dungeon. It's risk versus reward, the game. The enemy's defensive ability varies according to which direction you attack from. Attacking weaker areas will cause more damage. Fire laser. This enemy has an average defensive rating from the front. Attack here and it will suffer average damage. To the right. Oh, it's right. Fire laser. Oh, it's extra shielded. Oh, that's cool, and you have to kind of figure it out from the character design. This game is really cool, Sky Corvus. I'm sorry I can't give it its full due because of the emulation issues when we're in FMVs, but the gameplay is really neat. I've never seen anything like this. Aim for enemy's weak spot. This area is marked weak, which makes sense. A JRPG that's innovating and doing something different with its battle system. What? There are also enemies that counterattack or dodge attacks from certain directions, or even enemies vulnerable from only one direction. Yeah, so lots of cool design space with that. As you can see, positioning is vital to dodging attacks and fighting effectively, and mastering this technique is key to ensuring your survival. So this is the first game I've seen that has an ATB that feels relevant, other than like maybe Chrono Trigger, where it's like your ATB is charging, but you can suspend the ATB by moving. I can capture composite. I can do it over my my fancy FrameMeister. Why don't we do that? So, Sky Corvus, I think I'm gonna go ahead and I'll upload this hour playthrough to YouTube, and I'll still go ahead and discount the game by an hour for it being on subblock. But if and when Panzer Dragoon Saga wins the vote, I'll talk to you about finding a way to borrow your Saturn in the game for a while and capture it over composite rather than do it with an emulator. And we'll start the game over from the beginning, because I'd like to give this game its full due, if possible. Let's keep going through the tutorial here. This is pretty sweet. Homing lasers. Dragon's normal attack shoots multiple lasers. The number of lasers shot at once is limited. Okay. Oh. It's like res. Lasers will only target the closest enemy, so although lasers can inflict more damage than Edge's gun, you cannot aim at a distant enemy. That's cool. Hey, thanks for the host, people. How far are you in Darkest Dungeon? Like, what all have you done so far? If you aim at optic-resistant enemies, anti-laser will be displayed. Oh. That's cool. Edge's normal attack uses the D-pad to aim the sight of a specific enemy. Ineffective against physically resistant enemies. If you aim at these types of enemies, anti-shot will be displayed. This game seems really good at exploring its design space, right? I think the red one is probably anti-shot, right? What they're getting at here. There's so many enemies, too. That's cool. The red one is anti-laser. I see. Cute. Dragon special attack. An enemy's defensive rating is nullified by this type of attack. Yeah, risk-taking innovative Saga. Usually most effective against enemies with high defensive ratings and large groups of weaker foes. Some techniques heal your dragon. Each berserk technique consumes a given amount of berserk points. If you don't have the required BP, you cannot use the technique. Use Berserk technique. I have enough BP. Sure. Effects vary according to type. Attack, deadly to nearby enemies. Spiritual affects all enemies. Agility, swarms, small groups. Defense, healing, and shield. Selectors will be able to command icons with laser and gun attacks being with a single button to press. Cool. Well, I'm really glad we did this for Subblock, Sky Corvus. That way we found out that it would make sense to borrow your hardware for the full playthrough. What other awesome Saturn games are there that are, like, demanding of a full playthrough that haven't been re-released elsewhere? I can't think of too terribly many, right? I guess there might be a Lunar game on there. Could be a Grandia game. Status attack. Depending on how many, I might be able to buy a Saturn. It's just getting a hold of the games is going to be the really hard part, right? Like, this game in particular is super expensive. I like Virtua Fighter, right? I wouldn't have to feel like I ever need to play through Virtua Fighter, or maybe play one game in the genre. Dragon was hit with a special attack that paralyzed it. The status of your dragon is displayed here in the status area. Radiant Silver Guns on the Wii Virtual Console. Okay. Dragon's paralyzed. It can't fire lasers or use its Berserk technique, only reposition itself. Only the dragon status is affected using items in the gun or edges actions, so these can be performed regardless of status. That's cool. Pure stun. Status usually returns to normal over time, but you may use an item to restore status sooner. Here you have no conditions other than stun, poison, slow, stop. Oh, that's clever. Dragon can't move. That's another cool way to explore the design space and positioning in this game. The first gauge charges. Sure. I'll start looking into it. 6 total Berserk classes. 4 are earned through experience, and the remaining 2 are hidden. Attack affects all enemies, delivering heavy damage to enemies nearby, but little damage to distant enemies. Spells are obtained by reaching a predetermined level. Affects all enemies, inflicting full damage regardless of distance. These spells cause the same amount of damage to all attacking enemies. Very effective against groups. Spells are obtained simply by reaching a predetermined level. Must be cast with only 1 gauge full. Predetermined level. Okay. Affects multiple enemies, retreats from battle. Delivers the same number of attacks regardless of the number of enemies. Full gauge class and extra class. Attacks in combination. Enemy's gauge can fill while you're moving your dragon. In this scenario, the enemy will attack as soon as you finish moving. Press a button while positioning your dragon. The action will initiate before your enemy's tagged. This is called beating them to the punch. This is a Japanese word. This is called beating them to the punch. Is this the true meaning of beating them to the punch? You can do this while an enemy or player is moving or attacking. When the gauges are full, if you want to perform attacks and combinations, initiate any action and immediately press a button to perform another action. Sky, could you do a little bit of research for me and see if they ever made a SCART cable for the Saturn? I think it'll look pretty good over composite, or about as good as it's going to look with my FrameMeister, but if somebody did a SCART cable output for it, that would be outstanding. And I can make it look almost pixel perfect on stream. Learn this technique well, and you will not only defeat enemies quickly, but will also prevent them from attacking. Oh, really? Sweet. That'd be rad. Yeah, I already have the FrameMeister, so I probably just need the SCART. And I can ship it back when we're done. Ranking is based on how fast you defeat your enemies and how little damage you take. Here are the rankings. Excellent! With 2 exclamation points. Because it's Japan. Full experience points may also find an item. Great fight. Good fight. Close call. Narrow escape. Alright, I think I paid $20 for retrogamingcables.uk. Makes a bunch of special SCART cables. I got one for my Super Nintendo and for my PS2. Select the shard. If you're sucking at fights, you get less XP. Maybe telling you to go visit other areas. I need to figure out. How to control my height on the dragon. Back up here. That's really cool. Something that'll Alright. Try playing with my buttons here. Brings up the map. Do you know how I fly back up? It's like once I fly down, it's kind of hard for me to move up again. Up doesn't do it, down doesn't. Oh, is it tank controls? Like glider controls? Am I pulling down to go up? No, it's not that. Weird. Clicks are on there. Should be a dedicated button. I'm gonna keep playing around with it, I'll try to figure it out. This map. Also just be careful not to do that for now. Free action, what does that do? Cures the stop condition. Okay, that makes sense. Change altitude. I think there might be an option for it in here, right? Lock on. Huh, I guess I don't have a specific button for it. I'm saying it to reverse maybe would make my life easier. There, now I can control it, I think. This game is really, really aggressive for its time. I'm very impressed by it so far. I'm curious how much of the game is spent flying on the dragon and how much of it is spent as like a human character walking around on the world map. Come on. Field map. What is that? Oh, does it let me just access the map, presumably? I didn't look at the leader's note. How would you walk when you can fly? A week has passed since we came to the excavation site, accepting the Empire's commission. Desperately trying to find something. The director of this excavation site has been working for over 20 years already. Crazy. It appears that once again they failed to find whatever it is they're looking for. As always, they're left in the dark. Nothing new at the excavation site. All we've done is dug up his ancient garbage. Talk with the director again. He says it'll cost a lot of dimes just to enroll Edge in school. There's only a few good years left in me, and I won't be able to earn enough money to pay for Edge's school. Thanks to the huge wind net, there's no way a monster could get in here. This job's probably going to be easier than I first thought. Susie and I talked with the director. Apparently only smart folks can enter the Imperial Academy. He said enrolling in a normal school should be his first priority. Talk to Edge. How did I start writing this diary? It's not like me at all. I guess it's because of him. How many times have I told him that I think of him as my son? I was about to ask. Unlike me, barely literate, Edge is a smart kid. Wanted to be enrolled in the school of the Empire. Being a mercenary in the middle of nowhere is not a job for him simply. After this job is done, I plan to take him to the capital. I do more than write in my diary. Start studying myself. Edge ever call me father? Oh, that makes it extra sad that he died. Shit. Bummer. Abilities, healing wing, 0 BP. Cool. Display map. Map of your location. Okay. Go to world day. Oh, really? I can already zoom all the way out? Whoa! No kidding. That's cool. I guess we'll stay in the valley for now. Yeah. It must have just been a weird tank controls thing, because now I seem to be able to control it just fine. Be careful with that targeting, though. Are battles in this game random, or do you, like, run into enemies? Oh, I think that orb changes colors. Yeah, for sure. Alright, so it defaults to Edge. Nice. I really like this battle system. Alright, we don't want to be in their front, so that was a mistake. This is called beating them to the punch. But you have to have meter to beat them to the punch. The orb changes color as you're getting closer. Close call. Cool. Yeah, now I'm kind of excited to play this on its original hardware. I'm trying to think what other consoles are going to be hard. The original Xbox is going to be really hard to emulate. I don't think there's any good emulators for it, and it kind of sucks to get copies of it. But fortunately, they're releasing a lot of original Xbox games now for the Xbox One, so I'll be able to play them natively there. I think almost all the important original Xbox games are on the Xbox One now. Generate. Except maybe Shenmue 1, but that's getting a remaster, so... Nope, I never played Blue Dragon. Not on the channel anyway. It's one of the only games I've, in the last 10 years that I've completely 100%ed, like, gotten a platinum trophy for the equivalent. But I did that off stream. It's been a while since I played it. Yeah. I think Microsoft deserves a lot of credit for that. Sony is kind of shitty about backwards compatibility, right? They say nobody uses it. Which is probably true in terms of like percentage of people who own the console, but it's pretty important to me to be able to always go back and play games. That'd be fun, people. I really like Blue Dragon. It has a kick-ass Uematsu soundtrack. It has like three or four of the songs in that game are among my favorite Uematsu tracks of all time. And it's like infiltrating the fortress or Nene's fortress. That song is jamming. Oh my god. Did you ever play Barkley Shut Up and Jam Gaiden? People? Chapter 1 of the Hoops Barkley Saga, the JRPG parody. past the fans. Totally should. I promise there's a way that it's relevant to Blue Dragon. Can't destroy it. You can beat that in like a session. It's less than 10 hours long. I want to say it's like 6 hours. Hey, save point. Let's go. I'll also probably make a save state just in case. But the plan is the next time we play this. So Sky, if your sub block comes up again, if you can pick another game, since we'll be restarting this once it wins the vote. Really like that combat system. It's very different for once. Yeah. Google it, it's a free game. Barkley Shut Up and Jam Gaiden, Chapter 1 of the Hoops Barkley Saga. It's amazing. Everybody who likes RPGs should play it. There's some parts of it that are pretty clearly like a Xeno Saga joke. What device that's from? Because the device shut off? Oh, I bet that turned off the fans outside. Yeah, the thought of having kind of a traditional ATB turn-based Japanese RPG, but it's most of your combats take place on Dragonback. Most of your combats and just encounters in general. Exploration is very cool. It stopped. There's no wind pushing me back. But now the monster's gonna enter too. I hope this wasn't a mistake. Cue Ron Howard. It was. I remember, it feels like the Saturn, the Dreamcast, the 32X, and the Sega CD all came out like rapid fire relative to each other. That was another thing that Sega did that I think was kind of an error. That the other major developers were like, whoa, what the hell's that thing? No, is it good? Is it already out? I heard they were gonna do it differently from Season 4, which was cool. Black box. Oh, it's not great. It's a bummer. Is it worse than Season 4? Dragon was stolen from them? Could there be more dragons? Oh, the Saturn release was a mess at E3. No one knew it was coming out, and Sega was like, it's out right now in stores. Oof. Oh, Sega. I think I've told the story before that my parents were betting on Sega rather than Nintendo, and they bought me a 32X from Toys R Us, and like the day after they bought it, it was announced that it was being discontinued, so they tried to return it after Christmas. It was something that they had saved up for. They tried to return it after Christmas, and Toys R Us offered them like 10% of the purchase price for it. Awful. We don't want to be in front of these guys, right? That's what they just taught us. Someone did a re-edit. Just put it in chronological order. I think the gun is always better for single target. I think it depends. Though someone did an official re-edit. That's awesome, Skyface Corvus. Alright, that's time for this game. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can do a save state just in case, although I expect when this game wins the vote, we will play it on its original hardware through cooperation with Skyquartus. Give me a few minutes to switch to our last subblock game for the day, which is Quantum Break. See you guys soon.